Welcome in, everybody. Red, White, and Bills here. Post-game report. The Bills blew a big one, 42-15 at the Indianapolis Colts. And as far as the game goes, there's little good to be talked about. I'll hit it, of course, and of course there's a lot of bad. But anyway, the Bills fall to 6-4. Now second place in the AFC East behind the New England Patriots, who are on fire, and we're sitting in a wild card spot. By no means is the season over. I see a lot of people, a lot of Bills fans, and of course, Patriot fans and other fans that don't like the Bills are already counting the season done. For the Bills fans, mainly because when you take a loss, overreactions come out. But by no means is the season over. You lost a few games. You got demolished this game, but there's a lot of games left to turn it around. So let me just mention the few good things that I noticed, and it was a struggle. But, Matt Breida came in again after his nice game against the Jets. I was always saying I think he deserves more playing time. He was 5 for 51 on the ground. He had a nice big 28-yard run. It was really good. We'd like to see more of him. Stephon Diggs, 4 for 23 and 2 touchdowns. 2 nice catches in the end zone. Granted, it didn't mean anything because of the outcome of the game, but it still looked great. Great day for him. And Knox was 6 for 80, a couple drops. I know it was wet, but, you got to catch the ball. And Allen was 21 for 35, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. We had 4 total turnovers. Mr. Trubisky had an interception, but at that time it didn't matter anyway. And, it was a shame. They came out here. You're at home. New England's right behind you. Got to get a win here. It's crunch time. Playoffs are coming up. And I expected a lot different game. I didn't think, of course, you guys remember what I said. It's going to be tough. And, Jonathan Taylor's an animal, and I've said that. But I also thought we could limit him to less than 186 yards and 5 touchdowns. But he had an absolutely, historic game. Good for Jonathan Taylor. They got the win. They're also on fire, winning 5 of their last 7. So hats off to them. You always want to walk away with a win. But one thing we have to realize as fans, it's the NFL, and I say this every week, it's a week-to-week league. By no means does this week define any team next week, or does last week define a team the following week. I use this analogy a lot. I know it has something to do with it, but I used to bowl, right? And even when you got a strike, the next frame, it didn't matter what you got before. All that matters is what's going on right now. The Bills lost this game, but the season isn't over. They just have to take it a frame at a time. As far as the bowling analogy goes. And you got the Saints coming up on a short week in New Orleans, and they took a tough loss today too. But they're another team you can't sleep on. They got a good team, and they're out of quarterback, but I'm pretty sure Kamara will be back next week, and their offense will be a lot better than it's been. So we got a lot of work to do. As far as defense goes, to be honest, the only person that really stood out to me was that Oliver, and he's doing that week after week. As far as besides that Oliver, we couldn't stop the run with anything. We knew they were going to run the ball, and they were still running it down our throat, especially in those situations where you're like, oh, they're trying to run out the clock, and we still can't stop the run. We've had trouble against Derrick Henry, but overall, as far as run defense goes, as far as defense goes in general, we're a top defense. Right now we're probably not number 1 defense, but probably 2, and it shows every week, and I still think this is a number 1 defense. They had a bad game, and just to throw it out there, it doesn't matter, but, as far as defense goes, we're out our middle linebacker, and you're out your defensive tackle. Last week, the backups played exceptional, and, it didn't look like we missed a beat. When in games like this, when you have the best rusher in the league going against you, you need that one-tech defensive tackle who takes up double teams easily and can shed blocks and make plays, stuff the run. And your middle linebacker who's 6'5" and got long reach on him. Let me just say, you learn at a young level in football. I started football in 7th grade, but I'm sure you learn it in pee-wees and everything. You can't arm tackle. You just can't. And I saw a lot of arm tackling this game, especially against Jonathan Taylor. You think you're going to bring him down trying to tackle his thigh with your arm. No, that's not going to happen. You have to gang tackle, and you have to hit him hard, and you have to wrap up. And I've said that in my pregame show that you got to wrap up. And that would have been a key to victory. And, in the loss, it shows that every time he got the ball, He maybe got stopped at the line or behind the line a couple times, but sloppy play by the defense, bad tackling. Hopefully that it doesn't keep being a consistent thing. I don't think it will. And then, offensive line was struggling again today. They didn't do terrible, but they weren't good by any means. And you're still missing a couple starters on the offensive line. Not that they even with all the starters, they still had some bad games. But you got to put that in perspective sometimes. Not necessarily talking about this game, but being healthy is huge. And it showed today that we just weren't up to the test, and there's a lot of games left, and I think we can come back, and we still got to play the Patriots twice, so definitely the AFC East is not won by them by any means. I know some people think that it is, but it's not. Got to mention Isaiah McKenzie. We're down 17 to 7, and okay, we got a chance to score, 2 minutes left, and then you fumble the ball on the kickoff without being touched. They pick it up 2 yard away from the end zone. Jonathan Taylor gets on the first play. Then you're in a hole 24 to 7, and then just turnovers just kill you. 4 turnovers to 0. And that's a common theme also when we lose. Besides the offensive line getting dominated, turnover differential. When you get no turnovers and you give 4, it's very hard to win, especially when they score every time off of turnovers, 21 points off turnovers. And, it's got to have to bounce back. Rough game. And a game like this where it's wet and windy, I think they said the wind got up to 25 miles an hour. And Josh can cut through that, but it makes it insanely hard for receivers to catch the ball. And there was 2 drives in a row. They had 4 drops total in those 2 drives. One of them was starting the half. So can't win like that. And, when you got someone like Jonathan Taylor, when it's wet and windy, it doesn't matter if you throw the ball. I mean, Wentz didn't have a good game by any means. And, all that matters is when you run the ball when it's wet and you can't stop it, you keep doing it. That's one thing you got to live by. I'm going to keep doing it until you stop me, and we didn't stop them. Besides that last, garbage time field goal, we only stopped them on one of their possessions. And they scored a touchdown on every single one except for one where they had a field goal. But, it's a tough game, tough loss to feel. But we got a short week, so it's gonna be over with soon. And then we got a big game against New Orleans. And from now on, the next 3 weeks, probably you can even say the next 5 weeks, these are all must-win games. Because again, you got New England right behind you. Tennessee just took a loss, and it was a bunch of tough games throughout the league this week. But like I say, week to week, but you got to bounce back. Going to New Orleans in the Dome, it's going to be tough. It's going to be loud. And after getting absolutely demolished, you really have to rebound this week. Because if you drop this next game, you're 6-5, and things are looking a lot tougher than it would be at 7-4. But I firmly believe the Bills can bounce back. Like I said in the beginning, by no means is the season over. It's football. I know as fans we tend to overreact, and trust me, I'm really mad, and I'm not gonna show it on here, and I'm not gonna my family's right there, but they know. You guys all know it's a tough loss, especially as a fan, but we have to realize it's the NFL. No week is guaranteed. Look at the Texans. They beat the Titans this week. The Titans are a way better team. So put this behind you guys. Can't win them all, but we got 7 games left. We gotta get on a win streak, and it's better to drop these kind of games now than near playoff time, because playoff time, once you lose like that, you're done. So, got a lot of momentum we gotta gain. It's gonna be tough. You gotta string some wins together, and moving on to New Orleans. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Tough loss for the Bills. The season is not over. Keep your heads up high. The players will keep their heads high. They will go back to work. Short week versus New Orleans. We'll see if we can get another collab with IBTE Sports on Wednesday, and I'm going to try to put a pregame out tomorrow or the next day. So thank you guys for tuning in. Till next time, go Bills.